Saturday, March 22nd. It's the our first live show of spring. Yesterday was the first day of spring, and here we are. It's springtime, which means I was kind of thinking like for Dynasty in particular. I know we have the draft coming up, but there's not a whole lot happening, and I know there's a couple periods like this, after the draft, after rookie mini camps and stuff as well. But this is one of the tougher times of year. Not getting much information. Just I guess time to scout, right? Time to scout. So, but James is here. Good morning to you, James. We're talking just a simple little like Q&A today. Spring forward into Dynasty. Kevin says, yep, exactly. But yeah, we're just doing a kind of a Q&A. If you guys have any questions about anything, leave them in the chat. We're going to go over like some dream landing spots for some of these top prospects that, spots that we would like to see them go, maybe some dark horse spots for them as well, for a couple of these guys. But we did get some news. Like you said, you mentioned Jameis Winston. I forgot his name for a second. Jameis Winston signing with the Giants. What was it, like
2 years?
2 year,
8 million?
8 million, but could be 12 or something like that, or 6 million could be 12. Chances right now. So Giants, obviously, they hold the number 3 pick, so they're not guaranteed a quarterback. If Tennessee and Cleveland both want to take a quarterback, and by the way, neither of those guys really brought in anyone. I know Cleveland brought in Kenny Pickett, but so they're like Giants could be kind of a SOL, as they say, and chances Jameis Winston's the starter. Like, what percentage chance you'd give him he's the starter week 1?
Well, I'd say no matter what, he's going to play at some point during the year.
Yeah,
I think and you're a dynasty owner, and you got to have this mindset when you're dynasty, because it took me a while. It's like, that guy sucks, I don't want him, and it's like quarterbacks, you got to have the quarterbacks on your roster. So
yeah,
you got to start a minimum, in a super flex, you got to have a minimum of 2. So that means you need a third one for all your bye weeks, and then you got to start thinking about injuries and stuff like that. So I don't think last year was as terrible, but the 2 previous years, there was like 65 plus quarterbacks who started in the NFL. I don't think we got to that level last year, but so you can't ignore Jameis Winston. You can't ignore Kenny Pickett. If you're a fan of those teams, yeah, it's difficult to to get excited about, but for dynasty purposes, you just gotta change your mindset. When I first started playing fantasy football, I remember I ain't taking that guy. He's a friggin' Raider, and or T.O. I thought T.O. was kind of a smart ass. Terrell Owens, I never would draft him. Yeah, that's really smart, So you gotta get rid of that mindset.
I mean, the question is not for Jameis. Like, he's kind of like I mentioned it with like Anthony Richardson. The question's not will they be good for fantasy if he starts. For a lot of guys, the question is that we don't know. Are they going to be good? Not only do they have to win the starting job, but they have to be good. Anthony Richardson's going to be good. Jameis Winston is going to be good for fantasy if he's out there. I mean, last year he played 8 games, and in those 8 games he was the QB 13 in total points, QB 10 in points per game. Like, he was a low end QB 1. Obviously, we know his last full season starting, the guy threw for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns. He also threw 30 interceptions, but a lot of fantasy leagues don't punish you enough for interception for it to matter. They do -1 or even -2. If it's -2 and you play 4-point, that's significant. We always do. You lose half of a touchdown essentially. So if it's 4-point, it's 2. If it's 6-point, it's 3. And he's going to be awesome from League Neighbors. So, League Neighbors just could put up massive numbers. It feels like Winston and Dayball is not a fit. Daboll gets angry, a bad sloppy play, and Winston's going to turn the ball over like crazy. I
Well,
mean,
you didn't think Winston and Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay was a fit, but I mean that's where he threw his 30 interceptions, and he wasn't getting upset at the interceptions and stuff. And
yeah, Arians' offense, they do lend because it's kind of a down the field, push the ball. So you do typically get like any quarterback under Arians' system seem to have a little bit higher touchdown than normal. Obviously, 30 is extreme, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it fits or if they try to trade up. But they at least got someone there, with DeVito. So Kevin's asking about any good IDP trade calculators of. We got some trade questions. So. Um, I don't know any specific calculators. I'll say this: Dynasty Daddy, which is a website we use for like our team reviews when we review teams. It's a really really good site, and I'm going to share my screen here. In Dynasty Daddy here, they you can enter your for example your sleeper league ID, and you kind of like sign into it, and you can go to a trade calculator, which is they use the settings from your league in the trade calculator. So most trade calculators, it's just a standard like, oh, this is a 12 team superflex half PPR, but they don't take into account your specific league settings. Whereas this one will. So if you click on it, it's more specific to your league settings. And also it's really good because it has this war tool, which we use a lot. So if you sign into your league and then you go to leagues and you go down here to league format war tool, and it shows, how valuable running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends for you. It should show IDP as well. And it shows how valuable they are relative to other positions because every league has different settings. So you can't just say, oh, wide receivers are always better than running backs. Well, it depends on your league settings. Sometimes running backs are more valuable. Like you see in one of our dynasty leagues, look how valuable running backs are compared to wide receivers. It's not even close. So, yeah, that's probably the website I would use there, Kevin. It should give you some good information there. But any other questions? Leave them in the chat. We're just doing a little Q&A today. No mock drafts or anything. Just a Q&A. We'll stay live for at most an hour. We'll see how we go if we get some questions and stuff.
So you forgot there was more quarterback news.
What happened?
Aaron Rodgers met with the Steelers for 6 hours.
Well, Giants are they made their move. They're kind of out, right? So
yeah, kind of.
I mean, what is it? Steelers and Vikings still? Are the Vikings even interested? I don't know.
My God, I can't see the Vikings. I don't know.
It's the simulation. He has to follow the Brett Favre career path. Packers, the Jets, the Vikings. Take the Vikings to the NFC Championship game. Throw a horrible interception to seal the game, and he'd be good with the Vikings, though. By the way, like Rodgers would be pretty good. Paul says, would you rather have the 211 or the 302 and the 309 in a one quarterback PPR? Thinking about trying to accumulate picks. I'd probably, not knowing exactly who's going to be there, I'd probably take the 2 picks. You're moving back. I assume it's 12 teams, so you're moving back. It's from the 12-1. You're moving back 3 spots, picking up an extra late third round pick. So I don't mind that at all. Yeah.
You're getting 302 and 309 and it's 211 for. I mean, you're getting to a point where I don't want to say the guys are irrelevant. It's like
they're dart throws.
And their impact probably would not be immediate. Of course. So I'd be.
You get 2 dart throws instead of 1, right?
Yeah, and those draft picks, I'd be looking at running backs and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, in our last rookie mock draft we did, it's a super flex, so maybe these guys get pushed up a little bit, but it was Jalen Royals at the 211, and then it was Jalen Knoll and Mason Taylor at the 302 and 309. So yeah,
That's
all those guys
actually,
are going to be
yeah,
hard throws.
that's one of the better tight ends, and least least top four, depending on who you look at, and also the Royals is not a bad wide receiver.
No, for me, he's in my top 5. He just needs to get the right
Saw
spot.
the Vikes talking to Tannehill.
Was Tannehill on a team last year? I don't think he
No.
was.
Is
It's kind of weird, no? That he didn't even get on a team like as a backup. Maybe he didn't want to be on
Yeah,
as a backup, but
maybe the money wasn't
um,
right, or I'm not going to do that. They're only giving me $1 million or something.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he should be on a team at least as a backup, I'd say. You think Hawkinson and Addison's fantasy numbers go down this year with JJ McCarthy? Probably. If I had to guess, either if they go up or down or stay the same, I would say I would guess down, but I don't think down enough to necessarily like,
You
oh, they're
still
not going to
got
be
the coach
useful.
there, so I've thought about
Yeah.
that too. And I watched JJ McCarthy at Michigan his 3 years, and in the philosophy of the team, they weren't throwing a lot. So he had 175 yards passing in a game. That was pretty
A lot.
good. So they just didn't need him. They would hand the ball off all the time, and I I don't I don't see. I think JJ is going to have to adapt to Kevin O'Connell.
Um, I mean, to say we expect JJ to throw for 4,300 yards and 35 touchdowns his first year as a starter would be a stretch. That'd be one of the best first year. I know he's not a
Ever.
rookie, but Mahomes comes to mind. Obviously, Mahomes had an amazing his first year as a starter, which was his second year in the league. That'd be kind of the same situation here, but you don't get guys doing that. And I think it's a little bit telling that they brought in Jordan Mason alongside Aaron Jones. Like they're going to run the ball a decent amount. Those two guys, they paid Aaron Jones a good contract. They brought in Jordan Mason, a good kind of 1-2 punch there. So I do think they go down. I would probably say everyone kind of goes down a little bit there, but I still think they're going to be Addison's going to be similar. He might be a little bit more inconsistent, but he's still going to be a little bit like boom bust. I mean, he's shown to be a touchdown guy. Like he has what is it, 18 touchdowns, 19 touchdowns his first 2 years, 20 total touchdowns his first 2 years in the NFL. So that's going to be his path. He's going to need those touchdowns again to kind of be that top 24 receiver. Hawkinson, yeah, maybe he goes down, but he's a tight end. Like he doesn't need. If I had to guess, it would be Addison. Addison and his numbers are going to be affected the most, I think, out of the 3 in Minnesota. So James says he has the 201, 202, 205, 206, 208, 210, and the 211. Should I try to move up and trade some of them to get a first? Yeah, if you can package a couple and get a first round pick, I definitely would. A future first as well. Like I don't mind if someone wants like the 202 and the 206 and you get a 2026 first. I would love that. So any of those, yeah, if you could move up, I definitely would. Like you got enough ammo there. And do you even have enough space on your roster for all those players? I don't know if is that your whole draft? Like you only have those second round picks, or do you also have first round and third round and fourth round? Because you might not have enough roster spots as well. You got to think about that. You got to drop guys if you're going to be adding rookies. So yeah, I don't mind packaging some guys up. Like if I gave the 201 and the 202 to get like the 109 or something, I would do that. Okay, so you do have the space. So yeah, it's not urgent because I do think those early second round picks are very good this year. I think you're going to get potentially a first round wide receiver. You're going to get a running back you really like. You might get a quarterback if it's super flex. You might get like a Jackson Dart there. So I don't mind moving a couple. But I do want to keep as many. Like if I could do like the 202 and the 205 and get like the 109, I would do that. Even the 110 potentially. But if you need the depth, stick and pick. It's fine to stick and pick. So, but yeah, keep the questions coming, guys. If you have them, we're just doing a little Q&A. We're going to talk about some landing spots, ideal landing spots for some of these top prospects, and starting off with the quarterback in Cam Ward, and we kind of have some parameters, right? Like we're not going to say, oh, he's going to fall 15th to this team, because we expect Cam Ward to go top 5. I think it's almost as much as of a lock as it can be to go top 5. Do you have a particular spot of any of those teams in the top 5 that you really like there, Dad, or you want me to start off with my favorite?
Where he's going to fit in the top 5?
Where do you like him for fantasy reasons? Which team do you like him to? So essentially, it's Tennessee, Cleveland, and the Giants, right? New England's not going to take him, and the Jacksonville's not going to take him.
Yeah, Tennessee seems to be, the trending point. Tennessee, are they gonna hang out with Will Levis for another year? It just doesn't seem likely, and so he seems to fit the Titans.
Yeah. I think he does go to the Titans, but I like the Giants landing spot for the most out of these for these quarterbacks, just because I still believe in Daboll as a pretty good coach for quarterbacks. Like he kind of helped. I don't think it was just him with Josh Allen, but he was there when Josh Allen had that big turnaround, right? Daniel Jones' first year with Daboll was actually good, and he took him to the playoffs. You have Malik Neighbors there. You have, Tyrone Tracy there. You have Wan'Dale Robinson, who's a fine 2/3 wide receiver. You have Theo Johnson, a young athletic tight end. Hopefully he's fine coming off the injury. You have some pieces there. So I kind of like the Giants the most. I also don't mind Cleveland, but yeah, it's really one of those 3 teams. And I think it will be Tennessee, which is fine too. I mean, it's not like it's a terrible thing here. What about Shedeur Sanders? Any Shedeur Sanders, we make it a little bit, he probably goes in the top 12, but like we can extend it to the entire first round. Is there anyone in particular? I'm going to give you, this is more of a sneaky dark horse. I don't think he's going to go here, but I think Shedeur Sanders fits the 49ers system perfectly. Like the accuracy and on timing and the short area throws. Now, that would mean that they're probably going to move on from Purdy or something. And I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but I don't necessarily rule it out of like, would you rather Purdy for $50 million a year or Shedeur Sanders cheap for 5 years? Like, I think there's an argument to say you'll take Sanders, but kind of have to have some balls to do that too. Because obviously you're getting rid of your quarterback. So we see the questions, by the way. We're going to get to them right after this. But yeah, any spots for Shedeur where you think he's going to go, where you want him to go?
I would say the Giants, but
yeah,
I was hearing this morning, that Abdul Carter should go to the Browns, and I thought, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem. If you need a quarterback, well, I don't understand why you wouldn't draft one. Unless you just think the guy sucks, or is not good, or something like that. Then I don't understand what you're going to do.
It's hard.
So it's kind of hard to think Cleveland to bypass it, but
it's hard this year in particular because maybe that we can grab this guy in the second, a Will Levis or something. And there's not really that guy this year. I mean, Jackson Dart's probably going to go higher than that. So it's tough, but
yeah, well, he gets artificially pushed up, and same thing, you can see the same thing with Milroe and the guy Shut, and I don't know if they're those aren't first rounders or anything like that, but
if all these guys were equal value, if all positions were considered equal value, these quarterbacks would probably not be in the top 15 to 20, to be honest. Maybe Cam Ward, but because quarterback is just so much more valuable, they get pushed up. Carr here says he has the 101 and the 108. He was going to go for Ashton Genty. Should he keep it or trade it for Puka? And if you can get Puka for and a first for Ashton Genty in the 101, I would do it. I would trade the 101. I'd be okay with just trading the 101 straight up for Puka. I would. And, you're getting a stud receiver who has had incredible start to his career. Obviously he had one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons we've ever seen. He followed that up with, he was actually better in 2024. I don't think people realize that. Like 2023, he averaged 6.2 receptions per game and 87.5 yards. 2024, he missed 6 games, but he averaged a reception more per game and 3 more yards per game, 2.5 more yards per game, 7.2 and 90, and around the same amount of touchdown rate. So I'm not worried about Devontae Adams because you go and look at Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was really good last year up until the fantasy playoffs, and Puka Nacua was better than him. Like, it was points per game, weeks 1 through 14. Cooper Kupp was wide receiver 4 in PPR. Puka was wide receiver 3. So if you could do that trade, if you can get Puka and a first for Genty for the 101, I would 100% do that. 100%. I'd be okay straight up. Would you be okay trading Genty for Puka straight up?
I think so. I don't think it's always nice to have the new guy. So,
yeah, but I mean, we're talking about.
No, I know. I mean, it's just no, for production and points and what we consider important for fantasy. Yeah, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, unless your league is like running backs are just like you have a point per carry or something like that in your league, or like running backs are just like dominant over wide receivers in terms of production. Yeah, that's an easy trade for me, Carr. I'm happy to do that. Kevin, we're going to get to that. Is there a bad Genty landing spot? Not really. Not unless, like, I don't know, a team that already has a stud running back takes him. Like, not unless, like, the Jets take him or something.
Jets, yeah.
James says, is Tyreek Hill worth keeping at cost or selling in a PPR league? Also, T and a 27 first for Saquon in PPR. Both are super flex. PPR start 10. I would say Tyreek Hill is worth keeping because I think his value is low enough to where you're not going to get what you want for him. And the guy can still give you a league winning season, in my opinion. Like, Tyreek Hill can still be amazing. By the way, when Tyreek Hill and Tua were on the field together and they played a full allotment of snaps, Tyreek Hill was still like the wide receiver 16 or something in points per game. Like, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't Tyreek Hill like we know him, but he was still like a good piece. So I wouldn't sell him just because I don't think he's valued enough. People are going to shy away from, he had a bad season and he's older. They're going to need to see him. But if he the first 2 weeks he comes out and he's Tyreek Hill those first 2 weeks, his value skyrockets. So I keep him and kind of wait. He's a hold. He's not a sell until in the season, unless someone's willing to give me like a first round pick for him, then I would take him. So, what about T Higgins and a 27 first for Saquon? It's a super flex PPR start 10. So it's not shallow, it's not deep, it's right in the middle. Both these guys, T Higgins, Saquon, are obviously starters. What side do you like there?
I don't know, 27.
So far,
if I'm on the receiving end of that, I'm thinking like, man, I can't even think that far. So yeah. I don't know. I'm just.
You can trade it though. You don't have to keep it. Like, remember, you can always trade it.
And you don't know what it's going to be. Is it going to be a high first round, a low first round? So I'm just talking about being on the receiving end. And getting rid of Saquon Barkley. I don't.
Can you get better for Saquon though? I don't know if you can get better.
No, I don't think you get better.
Just because people are always going to say, well, he's 1 year away from this. He's 1 year away from this. He just came off a season where he had an incredible season. The history of guys who touch the ball as much as he did, 378 times last year, the next season is usually not good. Like it's
Well,
almost always not good.
I don't expect it to be a repeat of what he did last year. So,
Yeah.
are we talking 12 to 1400 yards with 10 to 12 touchdowns? Yeah, you got to be a little realistic. But
I'd say if he's healthy the entire season, I'd be shocked if he fell under 1,600 total yards. Yeah, I don't know if you were
yeah,
saying
total
12 to
yards.
14. Yeah, you were saying rushing yards.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I think we're in agreement there. That being said, like I don't think you're going to get better for T, and so like I don't, or sorry for Saquon, I don't mind this trade because you know I think if I asked you that, where did T Higgins finish? So he missed some time, but points per game. Where do you think T Higgins finished last year in PPR leagues in points per game? Like wide receiver, was he top 20? Was he top 30? Was he top 10? What would you say?
me, I'd say since the Cincinnati offense was passing offense was pretty prolific, I'll just say he was like top 20.
I was surprised when I saw this in PPR, by the way, which it doesn't feel like T Higgins' format. He feels like more of a half PPR. I know this is PPR. He was the wide receiver 5 in
Whoa.
points per game. It was Jamar Chase, Puka Nakua, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and T. Higgins. T. Higgins averaged 0.1 point less per game than Amon-Ra. He averaged more than Malik Neighbors, more than CeeDee Lamb, more than Nico Collins, more than Devontae Adams. He
Of
finished as wide
course,
receiver
these are
7.
games he played in, right?
This is points per game. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Total points, he was wide receiver 17. But it's basically saying had he played those 5 games he missed, he would have been wide receiver 5. So, like, that's I don't know, man. And we've seen 2 years in the past now where T Higgins, even though Jamar Chase is there, 2022 T Higgins was wide receiver 16. Wide receiver 18, and 2021 T Higgins was wide receiver 14 in points per game. So we've seen them coexist. Is he a little bit capped in his ceiling? Like, will he be like? I'd be surprised if he did finish top 5, although he just did in points per game. So I think T. Higgins is like sneaky, maybe underrated a little bit, and we know where he's going to be. He's going to be with Burrow, and obviously the upside of like if Jamar Chase ever gets hurt, you have a wide receiver 1 potentially in T. Higgins. So I don't mind that trade. I don't mind it.
I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer here, but T. Higgins did have a 40-point game.
Yeah, but isn't that part of why you like T. Higgins though? You know he's capable of that. Right?
It was the last week of the season too.
Yeah, which was I don't remember who they were playing, but second to last week. Second to last was week 17.
Okay.
But he had a 40. That his week 11 to 18 was insane. 30, 17.9, 4.3 was bad, then 19.8, 19.8, 40.1. But like he gives you 1, 2, 3 like week. If you're getting 30 points or more from T. Higgins, you're probably winning your week, right? And so he gives you 3 or 4 of those every year. Plus, he's going to give you, some other production where he gives you 15 plus points, 15 to 20. And then, yeah, he'll have the occasional, probably a handful of down games just because most wide receivers do. But, that's it's interesting. I don't mind the T in 20. I don't mind either side here. If I really, really want to compete and win this year, I'm probably keeping Saquon. But if I'm kind of like in the middle where I can go both ways, or you don't have much going for you beyond this year, like, and you want to start getting younger and some pieces, I'm totally fine with that because I think T Higgins is going to be a good player, and then obviously you're getting a first round pick in 27. So, and again, you don't have to keep that 27. You can you can trade that away for other pieces. So appreciate you, Car. And yeah, I like this hat too. The Mexican World Baseball Classic hat. Higgins is better at Burrow, absolutely. Yeah, Higgins is awesome with Burrow. So big thing with him is he needs to stay healthy. That is an issue with T. Higgins, So Big B says Superflex start 10. The only quarterback I have is Stroud. Running backs are Kyron, Jacobs, Chase Brown, Tracy. Which running back would you all give up for Fields at the 104 and all? You have 104 and okay, 104, 204, 304, 404. Okay. So you're probably adding a running back at the 104, I would guess. Maybe. I mean, you could if you wanted to. Or sorry, not a running back. Really, you can go anyway. Yeah, you can go Like I've seen Cam Ward fall there. Probably doesn't, but you're looking at as of right now, Hampton, Ward, or Ted McMillan, and then yeah, you probably can't get a quarterback anywhere else. Who would we trade for Justin Fields? I mean, if I could do Tracy, that's the one I would want to do.
Chase Brown also.
You'd be okay with that? I think I would too.
I would be. Wouldn't be my preference. Brown or Tracy.
If they could throw something back to me, like a future second, or even like an early third in this year's draft, like I'd be okay with. I'd kind of want a little bit on top. So I feel like Brown is kind of viewed as like a top 15 running back, and Fields is kind of like we're still unsure if he's gonna start. I think he starts the whole season, and if he starts the whole season, I think he's top 10 quarterback pretty easily.
I think he's gonna start. I feel a lot more positive about Fields starting in his fantasy value than Jameis Winston and Kenny Pickett.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And hopefully they have the right coaching staff in there, and that we saw Fields go 4-2 with the Steelers, and almost went 5-1. They almost came back and beat the Colts. And I heard someone mention it, like one of the reasons maybe they went to Russell Wilson is that there was that conditional pick, like if Fields played a certain amount of snaps, like the pick that they traded for him or something would have turned into something higher, So I do Tracy. If it was Chase Brown, I would see if I can get something back, a pick on, an extra pick on top of that. But if not, I would be okay with it, knowing that there's a good chance I add another running back in this draft at the 104. And you desperately need a quarterback. You only have Stroud and a super flex. Like you need at least another one. So you're kind of desperate there, unfortunately. Also, other buy lows, like Dak Prescott's a buy low to me. Like people don't seem to like him for whatever reason. He's all the way down as QB 24, I think it was 22. Tua, Sam Darnold, Anthony Richardson as well. Like I know it's more of a risk there, but like if you can get him kind of cheap and hope he's like Fields. If he starts the whole year, he's top 10 easy, maybe top 5. So just some other guys in there, but yeah, we don't mind Tracy or Chase Brown there. He has Worthy, Neighbors, Judy. Yeah, I mean you have the team to kind of win. You got Neighbors, Judy, Metcalf, Worthy. That's good wide receivers. You have Kyron, Jacobs, Chase Brown. You're just lacking that quarterback. So yeah, we'd be okay with any of those last two. Definitely not Kyron or Jacobs though. You'd have to get more. You'd have to get something on top of Fields to do that. Keep the questions coming, guys, if you have them. We're just going through also some landing spots for ideal landing spots for these guys. Jackson Dart, I mean, seems to be first round, early second. Although, like we talked about, there's not many quarterbacks that get taken in the early second anymore. There's been 6 in the second round since 2015, so 10 years. Any idea where you'd like to see like a Jackson Dart potentially go to?
I haven't really thought much about him. I think maybe like the Steelers. I think
like at 21 they take him, and even if they bring in Rodgers or something, they sit for a year. That's an interesting one.
But I don't want him to be like Kenny Pickett, so things kind of fell apart for Kenny Pickett there for whatever reason.
What about the Rams? How would you feel if you went to the Rams at 26?
Well, that would be probably pretty damn good because
Although Stafford did kind of re-up his contract, so I don't know if it's a 1 year type of
it's,
like deal
yeah,
or
it's I can't imagine that he would be. Sorry about the dog.
you're
Uh,
fine. Yeah, go take care of it. I'll keep talking here. Um, if you need to take care of it or not, but um, yeah, yeah, Rams. I was just looking like that Stafford contract, like it's massive. The amount of money they're giving him. I mean, he's going to get 50 million or something like that in 2026, and they can't get out of it. So maybe not so much. I don't know. I don't think the Rams are a terrible spot, but I wonder if a team trades up back into the first and goes to take him. Um, so um, that is Jackson Dart here. The running backs here, obviously Ashton Genty, we are considering to go top 10, top 12. We have the comments of like, is there a bad landing spot for Genty? Is what Kevin said back here, and yeah, I mean, like we said, uh, the Jets don't feel great if he went there. Other than that, not really. I mean, maybe like at the Colts if he falls out of the top 12. The Colts take him or something. I don't. Atlanta takes him at 15. Those would be bad landing spots, but not realistic, right? Um, What's your favorite spot for a Genty in that top 10 to 12?
I hate to say it, but Cowboys or Raiders.
Gross.
I know.
Nah, those would both be great landing spots.
The
Those would be,
Raiders
yeah.
because of Pete Carroll. I've said that before, and I'm still gonna say that. Cowboys, obviously, I think but the Cowboys seem like they have, they got these good players, but they seem to have a lot of needs. So
Yeah.
a running back early, I don't know. I don't know if it's in the cards. I see mock drafts with early wide receivers, because they don't seem to have a second wide receiver behind CD Lamb. So I don't know
Mhm.
their offensive line situation. I know that one guy retired. Yeah, their defense, they they still seem to be weak up the middle, for the past 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So Raiders, yeah, I think my ultimate would be, of course, the Chargers, but who knows if he's going to last,
Yeah.
and
He
or
lasts that long.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I doubt he lasts that long. There's just too many teams. Like, I mean, if we start with who could really take him, Raiders are obvious. Saints could take him. The Bears could take him. That's probably my favorite spot, to be honest, is the
Yeah,
Bears and Ben
the
Johnson.
Bears. That would be.
I mean, the 49ers, do they go out and try and take him and say, hey, we'll roll with Genty and McCaffrey for a year, and then Genty replaces McCaffrey? The Cowboys are obvious.
I think the
Um,
49ers again have too many other needs. They
I
got rid of
mean,
11 starters.
if they're truly taking kind of a quick rebuild, 1 year rebuild type of move here, like there's not many blue chip prospects in this draft, and people say Genty is one of them. So, I mean, does sneaky Miami take him, like, and pair him with Achan? Um, I just think there's Arizona could take him. Cincinnati could take him if he falls. You know, Denver's obvious. Like, I don't know. There's just too many teams here. I'll say two dark horse teams, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Why wouldn't the Patriots thinking about taking him? It's Vrabel. He went to the play. He was the number one seed and went to the AFC Championship game on the back of Derrick Henry. Right? You have a
Yeah,
good quarterback in there. Like, if there's not many blue chip prospects here, and a couple of them, Cleveland takes one of them, and there's only one of them sitting there. Like, I know it's going to be hard to justify Genty over a guy like Travis Hunter and stuff, but I don't think it's like crazy to think that they could, they're going to pair him with our with our rookie or a young quarterback that we really like, and we're gonna have a great backfield there in May and Genty.
and they have zero. They had a lot of money to spend, but they were not able to acquire any offensive talent
No,
at all.
no,
So essentially, they're still running on the same offensive guys they did last year.
yeah,
We're talking Ramadre and whatever wide receivers they are, and the only one who's got a name is Hunter Henry, but he's getting a little long in the tooth. So offensive line, all we heard last year is how they sucked, and you've done nothing.
yeah.
So
I don't think it's crazy, and the team right after him, Jacksonville. I don't think it's crazy if Jacksonville takes him. They're kind of in the same. I know they have ETN and Bigsby, but you have a new coach in there, and he's going to want his guys. We just saw kind of what Bucky Irving and Rashad White did for the Buccaneers. That's where Liam Cohen came from. And like Jacksonville has no weapons outside of Brian Thomas. Like, are they really going to go into this season with Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, and Diami Brown and Brenton Strange? Like, really? That's what you're going to try and get the maximize Trevor Lawrence's potential. Like they're in play for any of these weapons. Ted McMillan, Tyler Warren, and I think Genty's like a sneaky. They need another weapon on this team desperately, and they pick at 5. And so you're not, you have a chance to get one. You shouldn't bank on getting one in the second round at 36. So I don't think it's crazy to think what if like Jacksonville brings him in. So I don't think he gets past. Definitely doesn't get past the Cowboys, in my opinion. And I'd be surprised if he got outside the top 10. To be completely honest.
Here's the thing that we've discussed before, and I know we might have a different audience listening this morning, but because the running back draft is deep, all these teams that we've identified that could be, wanting a running back and stuff like that, you just talk about Jacksonville and you think, well, hell, they took Bucky Irving, 4th or 5th rounder last year, turned him into something. So how come we can't do that again? Or why should we spend first round draft capital on a running back when we need an offensive tackle or a defensive tackle or an edge rusher? So we'll wait till the 2nd or 3rd round.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. And that kind of affects, potentially the next guy in Amarion Hampton. And I think he has a very good chance he goes first round. I think it's almost a lock. He's like a top 40, 50 pick in this draft. I'd be very shocked if he fell outside the top 50. Is there a spot you like for Hampton you want me to start? Because I have one kind of obviously maybe not obviously, but I have one that maybe not a lot of people think of if you want me to start. You want me to start?
Yeah, no, teams we identified, he seems like he's a big boy. I think he's, 220 and stuff like that. So, Pittsburgh, I don't know. Pittsburgh just suffered through 4 years of Najee Harris kind of plodding through. I know Mario Hampton ran a 4.4.
Yeah.
4.45, I think. And so I think Pittsburgh or the Chargers and would be a perfect landing spot.
Yeah. Obviously all those other teams, like I wouldn't be shocked if he went, like Genty went top 5 or top 10 and then Cowboys take Hampton. But someone we haven't talked about and I think is an interesting spot for a running back is Washington. In the Commanders. Like they have Brian Robinson, who if you were to go another season with Brian Robinson, could you, can he do the minimum that you need to get the job done? Sure. Is he adding anything to your offense? Is he special in adding, playmaking ability and a whole nother layer to your offense where you have to, defenses have to respect it? I don't think he does. And so that's why I think Washington's an interesting spot. They pick at the end of the first. They just went to the NFC Championship game. Sure, they brought in Deebo Samuel. They could use another weapon on offense. right? They can use another weapon on offense. They can, whether it's a running back, a tight end, a wide receiver. I think that's like a really nice spot that I would like for Hampton there. I think he could be very good for them and score a lot of fantasy points playing with Jaden Daniels. What do you think of the Washington landing
I
spot?
think it'd be perfect for the old Commanders, the ex-Redskins.
Mm-hmm.
So that would there are wide receivers and tight end that they seem to be pretty solidified in that area. They get a go-to running back, guy who can handle 20 carries a game, 20 plus carries a game would be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I think considering you have to account for the running of Jaden Daniels, so that
Yep.
makes the running back obviously a little easier. Maybe a little easier to getting significant rushing totals.
And Jaden Daniels is not the Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts type of rushing quarterback where I don't think he's going to steal a lot of goal line stuff from him. So, I mean, he'll get his touchdowns, Jaden, but it's not like, Allen and Hurts are locked for double digit touchdowns rushing, it seems like. Cheeseheads is here. He says, any buy low candidates at any position, Cheesehead, or is there a specific position you're thinking of? Because yeah, there's definitely some. Let us know if you're looking for a specific position or any, but we're going to stay live here for another 10-ish minutes or so. We'll skip, there's obviously other running backs, but just to kind of get through the other positions a little bit, we'll skip to wide receiver here and Ted McMillan, who we assume is going to be a first-round pick. He feels like the only wide receiver that's kind of a lock to be a first-round pick. I think there's going to be at least two, maybe three, possibly three or four. I think at the most there's four wide receivers that are first-round picks. I don't think it's out of the – I think it's – I'd be shocked if there's not two. I just don't know who's the for sure other second one as a lock. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's three or four. So Ted McMillan, he could really go anywhere. There's thoughts about him dropping and stuff like that. I kind of like him with the Cowboys. I think him and CD could really complement each other well. CD is kind of that movable piece that you move all over in motion in the slot outside. Ted McMillan. And the Cowboys desperately need a second weapon on their team. Like they have CD and who, as a weapon for this team. Ferguson, nah, he's just a tight end. Like Jalen Tolbert is their wide receiver too. Cavante Turpin's a fine for what he does, but he's not a consistent weapon. Like they need another weapon, and so I'd be shocked if they don't. If Ted McMillan or Genty are there, I'd be shocked if they don't take one of them. So I kind of like that Cowboys spot, and then maybe one a little bit further down the line. Green Bay would be interesting to me if he fell there. I know you're adding another wide receiver there, but can he finally be their number one guy? And does he part of me that kind of likes that is I think he could really help a guy like Jaden Reed out and let Jaden Reed do what he does well at, and then Ted McMillan takes the number one corner. And he takes the outside contested catch type of stuff, and yeah, I kind of like him to the Packers there as well. But any thoughts for Ted?
Maybe Carolina.
Okay.
I know it's a little early. Pick 8. Yeah, maybe not.
No, I mean he's mocked as high as pick 4 to the Patriots, so I don't think it's crazy.
The Jets seemed to be a little thin beyond Garrett Wilson, but I'm not sure if they value that. And the Cowboys, I think, would be kind of a natural fit at 12. So
yeah,
the Saints, I don't think. I mean Olave, but he's not killing it or anything like that. So,
and what about 49ers?
Yeah, 49ers seem to be a little weak. They, minus Debo, It'll be interesting see how Pearsall jumps up this year. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
any of those I think that we just identified.
Um, Kind of the opposite of what we said about running backs, where like teams maybe could afford to wait. There's not many good wide receiver prospects in this draft, and
Yeah,
that could really push it because it's hard to believe like is Ted McMillan really a top 4 pick, like comparing him to past is, Jamar Chase was what, 5th or 6th overall. Um, Marvin Harrison was 4th overall. Like, is he really at that level? It doesn't feel like it. But if you're New England who desperately needs weapons and you say, I don't feel confident in the second round about these guys, especially if Abuka and Golden and Luther Burden go, um, so like it could force them to take one. I think Carolina's not bad. I don't think Jacksonville is out of the realm of possibility. I don't think any of these teams like New England, Jacksonville, the Raiders, the Jets, the Panthers, the Saints, Cowboys, obviously. I don't think any of these guys are, like it could be a lot of teams. A lot of teams need a second wide receiver or a wide receiver one. So, yeah. Cheeseheads didn't get back to us, but yeah, I mean, my favorite buy low candidates at the quarterback position are guys like Dak Prescott, Sam Darnold, still Justin Fields, Anthony Richardson, especially those last two. If you're really just buying low to like, all right, let me kind of shoot for the moon here. I'm not buying someone I need to start. I'm buying someone to see what I have. Like Richardson and Fields are 100% those guys. I was telling people to buy low on Fields back, or late February before free agency, knowing I thought he was going to get a starting shot. Running backs, I mean, Tony Pollard is like criminally underrated. He's all the way down as RB 42. That doesn't really make sense to me. The guy was like RB 21 this last year. I don't really understand. He got paid. He's going to be with the Titans. They should be improved. Like he was RB 21. He had like 5 touchdowns or 7 touchdowns or whatever. So he's really underrated in my opinion. I don't mind taking a chance on guys like Jalen Wright and Javonte Williams. I think Jalen Wright's gonna. I don't think they want to give Achane 20 plus carries a game. I think they think he's better as a 14, 12 to 15 touch guy. And so I think Jalen Wright. They just kind of went away from like using Mostert last year. So I really like Jalen Wright as like a buy low there. I mean, ETN is pretty. He's at the point. I know we just kind of said like, oh, what if they take, what if they take Genty, and they need a running back weapon, but like ETN's all the way down as RB 53, and like we just saw Liam Cohen put up 2 running backs in the top 20. I think Bucky Irving finished as like RB 15 or something like that, and Rashad White I think was RB 22. Like he just had 2 guys put up usable fantasy seasons. Like I think I threw out Jacksonville as like, oh, what if they take Genty? But like I think it's unlikely. And then yeah, they could bring someone in for sure, but I still think ETN could be a good piece for next year. So that's some running backs. Real quickly on some wide receivers. There's a lot of guys. A little bit more of the veteran guys are going to be values. Tyreek Hill's a buy low to me. Jerry Judy's a buy low for me. Devontae Adams is down at wide receiver 44. He's a buy low for me. Juwan Jennings potentially. So Cooper Kupp. A lot of the veteran guys that people just don't value as much. And then tight ends.
Even David Montgomery doesn't seem to get a lot of love. And
now he's RB 20 though, so he's kind of ranked. I don't know if you can rank him much higher than that. Are you going to put him above Derrick Henry, McCaffrey? I mean, you could argue guys like Hubbard and Chase Brown if you want to put him over those, but like,
no, he's going to be. He's probably going to get double-digit touchdowns. I mean, that's
probably, yeah. I mean, he's probably at worst a low-end RB2. And then tight ends, there's Jonnu Smith, Dallas Goedert. Like these guys are buy lows to me as well. So Kevin says he has a 1 quarterback, 16 team, start 8. He's contending. So 16 teams, start 8. 16 team, start 8 is equivalent to, I'm going to use my calculator and cheat. It's basically equivalent to a 12 team, start 11, start 10, start 11. So it's a little bit deeper. So 1 quarterback, 16 teams, start 8. I'm contending. Lucked up on the 101. Give my 25, 101, 109, and 116 and get JT and Garrett Wilson. Man. So basically, would you give up? What would you rather have? I'm going to base this off of our last. Now, our last rookie mock was not a 1 quarterback, but let's just say, who would you rather have? Jonathan Taylor and Garrett Wilson, or Ashton Genty? Let's say Matthew Golden and Cam Scatterboo. What side are you taking there? JT and Garrett Wilson versus Ashton Genty, Matthew Golden, and Cam Scatterboo.
JT.
JT and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't do Ashton Genty straight up for JT. Like, I would take Ashton Genty over JT, right? I would take JT and Garrett Wilson over Ashton Genty in a 16-team start 8. But you're also throwing in the 109 and then the 116, which is essentially, the 204, right? Kind of lean the Genty side, I think, the 101 side. I know you're contending, but man, Genty's gonna. I mean, we assume Genty's gonna be a top tier guy, so I don't think you're gonna be disappointed if you keep Genty. I guess is my point. And I think there's a chance that it's just a better trade for you. So I think I might lean the Genty side. I get the JT Garrett Wilson side, but at the same time, we got to be honest about Garrett Wilson. Yeah, he's a startable piece, especially in this format. But the guy, his best season was last year, and even that year in PPR, in terms of points per game, he was wide receiver 21. He finished as a top 10 wide receiver, but points per game, he was giving you wide receiver. He was a low end wide receiver 2. And that's kind of his best season that he's been. Now he has Justin Fields. I know Fields had a good season with Moore, but so I don't mind the 101 side, but both sides are fine with me. I would lean the 101. You are contending, so I understand taking the JT Garrett Wilson side. A-Rich is the perfect buy at cost at QB3. Yeah. I mean, to me, he is. If the guy starts, he's top 10, easy. So could Rachaad White get traded? Yeah, maybe. It'll probably be a draft day thing where they use him to move up, in a round or something like that. So I don't know what the market is for Rachaad White, but I don't know if he does get traded. You have a lot of really good running backs coming in this draft. So real quick, with the tight end, Warren, before we finish up here, I think Warren is in play again as soon as New England at the 104. I've never seen New England mocked to taking Warren, but they need a weapon. And if they feel like Warren is a bigger difference maker, and I just think of Vrabel, a guy that's going to want to run the ball, Warren's going to provide you a weapon in the passing game and a weapon in the run game. I wouldn't rule out New England. Jacksonville could take him. The Jets could take him. Carolina could take him. New Orleans could take him. Chicago could take him. There's so many teams that could take Tyler Warren. I really don't see him falling outside the top 12. Dallas could take him. What if the 49ers take him and just run 2 tight ends for a bit until Kittle's done? Do you agree that you could see New England taking Warren? I mean, if they're taking Ted McMillan, why not Warren?
Yeah. I don't think it's terrible, but the most I've seen with Tyler Warren being mocked at is with Indianapolis, and
yeah, I just don't know if he falls that far anymore. Like just
Yeah.
looking at again, New England, Jacksonville, the Jets, Carolina, New Orleans. I think sneaky Chicago, sneaky San Francisco, Dallas, Miami, like all those. That's 8 teams. I'm just counting. I wouldn't be shocked if they took Tyler Warren before we get to the Colts. So, I mean, do you like the Colts landing spot, or do you
No.
not like? Yeah.
No.
What would you love? Like, what would be your favorite? Um,
Um. Probably. Let me think about this.
New England, Jets,
New England. Jets,
Carolina.
I could see. Um, Dolphins don't know how to use tight ends.
Well, I mean, John, you just had
Yeah,
a
I
pick. Yeah.
I get it. Maybe no, not the Bears. Saints,
Yeah.
Carolina.
I don't know if I'd be excited. I mean, we have to remember we weren't excited for the Raiders landing spot for Bowers, and he was like the tight
Look
end
how that
one.
worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think tight ends because you don't have to do as much, and it's generally easier targets that you're getting. Um, I mean, yeah, I would. What would I love? I would love like a Cincinnati or something. That would be fun. Um, you just have go all in on your offense. But Dallas would be pretty good too. I think he'd easily replace Ferguson and be the number 2 target there behind CD. But I just keep in mind, I don't think it's out of the again New England. They want to run the ball. You're getting a guy that gives you a weapon in both the run and pass game. So, but we'll probably do this again maybe in a couple weeks as we get closer and we start
Yeah, as
getting
we
more
get a little
rumors and
closer,
stuff.
I think that would be pretty good.
But we're going to finish up here. We're going to be live tomorrow evening. At least I will, at the very least. Maybe you, Dad, maybe Brian. But we're going to be live doing a Dynasty startup mock draft because we have a real money league coming up in 1 week. We're going to start a slow draft, and then we have another one in a couple of weeks. After that, it's going to be live on this channel April 6th, which is a Sunday right around 7 Eastern time, at least the first 12 rounds. Well, the first 12 rounds will be live, and then we'll switch over to a slow draft. But if you're interested in joining a listener league, we're trying to get together at least one more. We got about 5 people interested in a third league. But obviously, we need at least 12. If you're interested in that, join our Discord. I'm putting the link here in the description or in the live chat. If you're interested, join. There's a channel there. It says listener leagues. So just leave your name or a GIF or whatever. We'll see if we can get another one between now and anytime between now and the NFL season starting. We are willing to put together another one. So it'd be real money, real league and all that. But join us tomorrow for the startup mock, especially if you're in one of our startups because you get some good practice there. And yeah, enjoy the basketball today. Enjoy the weekend, the first weekend of spring. And any last words there, old man?
Nope, just gonna get a day older today, watching little basketball. So
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, appreciate
looking
everyone that stopped in. Yeah.
looking forward to the draft. I know shit, we got over a month. This is I don't know. This is difficult time.
Yeah. The draft
I
will
don't say
fill it up a bit.
difficult, I mean, my God, first world problems, So
Yeah. Yeah, no. But just a lot of news is the issue, right? A lot of hoopla and
lying.
smoke. Yeah.
Absolutely, believe nothing. So
Yeah. Jamar Chase can't see the ball or something, right?
yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, appreciate everyone. And yeah, we'll see everyone tomorrow.